Am I going to do my spin? Good morning. How is everyone today? Beautiful. I don't know what I'm doing. Here I am, and here you are. Welcome to Tucson New Thought. Let's go ahead and start that track. I'm going to invite everybody to stand up as we start this day high energy, because I am high energy. A lot of people have been commenting on my energy level today. It is high, but it's always high. I actually haven't had that much coffee. All right, we're going to do this song, Eddie Watkins Jr. tune. And it's got some instructions, as you know. So I'm just waiting for the cue. Here we go. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the light in you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together, we come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. All right, so that was good, but I think we can do even better. Do you think we can do better? All right, we're gonna do better with this verse. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I love me and I love you too. Feel the love you were born to be. I got so excited there. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. In every walk of life, in every creed and color, in kinship we unite, to honor the light in each other. Look at the person next to you. Here we go. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love. All right. That was great. That was great. Well, welcome to Tucson New Thought. I am Reverend Jonathan Zenz, and you are here to do something. I don't know. Yes, I do know. We join together every single Sunday as a spiritual community to celebrate one thing, to know one thing, to understand one thing and one thing only. Who am I going to put on the spot to tell me about that today? Who would like to guess what that one thing is?
Love.
Love! It is. It's love. We are here to celebrate and understand love. That love is the creative energy of the universe, and it is who and what each and every one of us is. So let's say we let that be at the core of our minds, at the forefront of our thinking today, that we are here to understand, celebrate, and enjoy love. Yeah. Yes? Okay. All right. We are here to create a world that works for everyone, and we do that by means of our mission, which is to provide practical tools for personal transformation and awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Anyone at any point of their journey, of their spiritual journey, is welcome here, and I am so grateful that you have decided to join us today. Connection is a magnificent reason to be here, not just here at Tucson New Thought, but here on this planet, and I think it's the only reason that we are here. We are here to connect.
But there is something that I want to let us all be reminded of, and I want us all to exclaim it out loud for ourselves and as an I am statement, because it is very important that we be able to say this, and that is this: I am magnificent. You are magnificent. You are magnificent, not because of anything you do, not because of anything you say, but just because of who you are. So we celebrate that magnificence right here today. I'm going to invite each and every one of us to stand up and take a few minutes and let our friends and neighbors around us know very quickly their own magnificence, but in your own unique voice. And I do want to let everyone who's online know that I am grateful that you have decided to be here with us today, that you are a part of this community, and we feel your presence, and I'm so grateful that you are here. You are magnificent. One of the rituals that we do every week is this ritual called lighting the flames of faith. And it's an important ritual for me in my heart. And I love being able to share this with the community. And what we are doing here is we are honoring all the faith traditions, all spiritual paths, all religious ideologies, with the understanding that they are all born of one thing, and it is that golden thread of love. At the core of all of it is love. And so for each candle that we light, we are understanding that very notion, that principle. So we light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. The final candle we light is a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. This is your candle, to illuminate whatever is in your mind and your heart that requires the light. Go ahead, come up. The candle there to your left is the peace candle that we keep lit to honor that peace is in our hearts when we decide that it is in our hearts. And so we honor that by utilizing this modified prayer for protection by James Dillett Freeman. So I invite you to just breathe into this moment and understand this. Truly, the light of peace surrounds us. The love of peace enfolds us. The power of peace protects us. And the presence of peace watches over us. Wherever we are, peace is. Breathing into that. The loving Spirit dwells in me. Our reading today. Okay. Oh, you need your papers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our reading today is being provided by Carrie-Mon, and and there's this funny thing that happens. So, you know, everybody gets up here and says, well, Jonathan allowed me to actually choose my own reading this week. And the truth is I never actually demanded that people not choose their own reading. It's just when we originally talked about this portion of the celebration, people said, oh, it would be much easier if you just chose the reading. So I was doing that. And then people said, well, can I choose my own reading? I said, of course you can choose your own reading. And then here's what happens. We have people who are choosing their own reading, which Carrie-Mon did this week. And I sent her a message yesterday. I said, so can you just let me know what the reading is? She had no idea what the topic of the day was. She did not, and she sends me this reading. And it's like we prepared a 1-2 punch today in service for what is about to be said. It's, you know, the universe is always working in our favor and always working perfectly for each and every one of us. And it was a perfect thing. So please welcome with her reading, her reflection, and the affirmation, Carrie-Mon Pierce.
Oh, I can hear myself. Oh. On the mic. So, yes, as Jonathan said, I searched and searched yesterday. What was I going to say? What did I want to, what was important? And I actually ultimately took me hours through different books, and finally I was able to drop down. And maybe this is when, we connected, unbeknownst to me, but about late last night, I was able to send Jonathan this information. So I chose a quote from Brené Brown. If you may know her. She's a research professor at the University of Houston. She has spent her career studying courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy. And she's now an author of 5 #1 New York Times bestsellers. I'm going to list them out because definitely go and get them. The Gifts of Imperfection, Daring Greatly, Rising Strong, Braving the Wilderness, and her newest book is called Dare to Lead. She also has one of the top 5 TED Talks that you can go watch on YouTube, and it's all about vulnerability. So today, I think you'll start to see the theme as I read of what I chose here. So I'm just going to let it reveal itself. So the passage goes, "A deep sense of love and belonging is an irreducible need of all people. We are biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired to love and be loved, and to belong. When those needs are not met, we don't function as we're meant to." So I'm going to pause in the passage now because I'd like to share a little analogy. I often, having had roots in ancestral nutrition, go back to, okay, let's look at human nature all the way back. So we're going back to the caveman days. And when I started to look at that, I realized human beings are really vulnerable. We can't be the lone wolf. We must have community, tribe, team, call it what you want, but you've got to have a group of people that are supporting you. We can't do it alone. And we're not social animals out of desire. We're social animals out of necessity. So think about a tribe. Each person has an important job to do, and everyone else counts on them for food and shelter and safety, whatever your piece of the tribe is. They value belonging. And the cavemen also experienced a lot of risk, like predatory animals and weather, etc. And so, if a tribe member got hurt, they became a liability to the tribe. And let's just say, in this story that I'm creating here, the tribe now has to move from one location to another, maybe find a new shelter. And would the tribe carry along that wounded person that hurt themselves? And the answer is absolutely yes, because the tribe member had value and belonged to the tribe. So of course they would find a way to get them from one place to the next while they healed. So now I'm going to step into a personal story, go a little deeper. Here's my piece of vulnerability. When I was a very young child, and this is pre-Jonathan coming into my life and being part of my tribe, which was a very important part of my life, my parents were archaeologists, and so they led an archaeological excavation over in Israel. And what this meant was that they had to be in Israel for months at a time, engaged in the excavation process and the research. And that also meant that they often left me behind for months at a time as a very small child. Early on, it was nearby in Jerusalem. I had a nanny. And later on, it was in places like England, US, depending on where their travels took them. But they would leave me with other people for months at a time. And this is why I'm bringing up belonging today, because thanks to midlife and the work, the new thought, spiritual work that I've been so blessed to be exposed to, this week I was able to uncover some unconscious stories about my life, which is that this is the story I told myself, that I was not valuable enough for my tribe to take me along. My original tribe, my parents, was not valuable enough to take me with them. And that I did not belong, and that I wasn't worthy of keeping around. So on that note, let me return to the Brene Brown quote or the passage, and she says, belonging is the innate human desire to be part of something larger than us. And because this yearning is so primal, we often try to acquire it by fitting in and seeking approval, which are not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but often they are the barriers to it. So my innate desire to belong, up to now, we're talking 47 years in, has been coupled with this wanting to be seen and seeking approval of others. And it served me, and it's also sabotaged me. It served me because I love getting up in front of a group and talking. I love being on stage. Jonathan and I connected over theater, back as children. We did lots of shows in our backyard. And it sabotaged my opportunities to stick with workplaces, I keep changing and looking for a place I belong, thinking that it had to do with something outside of myself. And so when you subconsciously don't feel valuable, the buck literally stops there. And so I've had some financial and emotional deficit. And so this opportunity to share a little bit of Brene Brown and a small sliver of my story is, I didn't miss anything here, okay, is explicitly to give kudos to what we're doing here, to each of the work that each and every one of you are doing every day on yourself, your own inner work, and also this energy that we create collectively here at Tucson New Thought. Okay, where was I? So our practical tools of affirmative prayer and our tenets, love only, forgive everything, and remember who you are, is why I know today, this week, how to free myself from the limiting beliefs. I get to know that, I feel like this week is the first day of the rest of my life, because it was like when you bring something from the subconscious to the conscious, and then you have the tools to support you to shift, move through. And I know I have a community where I belong. I now know that I'm worthy and I'm enough. Thank you. So to complete Brene Brown's quote or passage, she says, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. Believing you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. And true belonging only happens when we are present to our authentic, imperfect selves and share that with the world. True belonging is not something you negotiate externally. That's what I learned this week. It's what you carry in your heart. It's finding the sacredness in being part of something and when we reach this place, even momentarily, we belong everywhere and nowhere. The oneness, right? So, thank you for allowing me to share my messy, imperfect self today. I know I am magnificent and that I belong. Namaste. And now, it's not right here. Oh, it is here, sorry. Da-da-da, and it's up there, right? It's the same thing, we're always looking for it but don't look outside yourself, know that it's perfectly. So this is perfect. I'm gonna read this affirmation, and then I'd love for you to repeat after me. So first, let me read it. I know who I am, and who I am is a blessing to the entire world. Please join me. I know who I am, and who I am is a blessing to the entire world. Can we do it one more time? Because I really feel like feeling it, but I want to feel it more intense and really ground it. So let's do it together one more time. I know who I am, and who I am is a blessing to the entire world. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. got so much to say. And I am grateful to you for sharing your vulnerability and also demonstrating publicly that we are perfect in our imperfections. And I think that's really important to understand, that the strive for perfection is an erroneous idea when we base it on the world of form and thinking there's some way to be perfect. We already are perfect. That's the truth. And I'm grateful to you for demonstrating that today. Let's just sing it.
Love fills up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. Love fills up my senses. Come fill me again. Come let me live, love. Let me give my life to love. Let me drown in its laughter. Let me die in its arms. Let me lay down beside love. Let me always be with love. Come let me live, love. Come love me again. Love fills up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. Love fills up my senses. Come fill me again.
Thank you. So if you know that song, Annie's song, the Song of John Denver, you'll know that we changed the lyrics a bit. Just a bit. But only to, to not put it as a thing that we're trying to acquire out there, to truly understand that love is an inside job. And love is the basis from which, as I said earlier, love is the basis from which all things unfold. The truth that we teach, and I do believe this as a truth. Love is the impulse of creativity in the universe. That everything that exists is rooted in this energy of love. And when we are in alignment with that, then the energy is constructive. And when we are out of alignment with that, then the energy can be destructive. But it's all one energy. It's love. And if we decide to be in alignment with it, which is a decision, and that's the great news, we all have the choice to either be in alignment with it or to be out of alignment with it. You get to decide. I'm not going to tell you which way to be. Be in alignment with it. The funny thing is I went, oh, I'm covering up the mic. No, I'm not covering up the mic. I want to go to something that is in the Brené Brown quote to start with. We often try to acquire a sense of belonging by fitting in and by seeking approval, which are not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but often barriers to it. Boy, you are speaking my language today. I've done this in my life. I think if we all took time to reflect, we would all see the ways in which we have done that in our lives. I don't think there's, well, if there is anybody here who has never done that in their life, here's what this really brings up for me. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, I'm only joking. What the world needs is not more of the same. We don't need more of the same. We need you. We need you to be your most magnificent, unique self. It is up to you to determine what that means. It is not up to anybody else to say, well, the way that I see you being your magnificent self is in this particular fashion. Doesn't matter what my opinion is.
Fine, 'cause I do that to him all the time.
Right? Yeah, so I say all of this, but talk to my husband. But, we do the same thing to each other. The world needs you to be your own unique self. The world needs you. I love that we put this on the wall because I get to go to it all the time. The world needs you to remember who you are. And in remembering who you are, to be the most magnificent you can be. This month's theme, the theme of the month, and the funny thing is I've not put a slide up, but I'm going to start putting the slide up what the theme of the month is, because does anyone know what the theme of the month is?
Harvest.
No. Ish. What was it?
Oneness.
Essentially oneness. But I put into the graphic that goes on Facebook, blessings of infinite oneness, so that it says boo down the side, because it's also the month of Halloween. The theme of the month has been blessings of infinite oneness. And I chose the theme of oneness with an eye to the knowing that those blessings are found in our uniqueness. That's where the blessings are found. Not because we all try to be the same, but precisely because we are all unique. Fundamental in this teaching is that unity expresses as multiplicity. The infinite, the absolute energy, that loving energy, expresses itself in as many ways as there are concepts of its expression, people in this world who express it, beings in this universe that express it. There is absolutely no limitation to the way in which you can express your uniqueness and your magnificence. So, why do we try so hard to fit in? That's the question. I've done it. Why do we try so hard to fit in?
Is that rhetorical?
It is rhetorical. But what's your answer? We're not loved unconditionally. Oh, see, now you can take me down a tangent. What if I said to you that you absolutely are loved unconditionally? When we're interdirected. We are, each and every one of us, loved unconditionally by the very source itself. And if we try to apply that to something outside the self, I guarantee you are going to be disappointed in life. Because not everybody that you encounter is going to love you unconditionally the way your own source loves you.
Really?
Yes.
Who knew?
Today, our work is to step up and stand out. Whew. I can set that down for a while. Maybe, maybe not. This could turn into a free-for-all. Why the heck not?
I already do that.
I know you do. I know you do. You know, Darwin, your reputation precedes you. But the truth is our reputation precedes us no matter where we go, whether we are aware of it or not. And when you walk into a room, the truth of who you are is expressed before you ever encounter another person or open your mouth. That's how our reputation precedes us. So who do you choose to be energetically? That's a big question. Because you can change the entire energy of a room by being the love that you are at your core. Have you ever had the experience of walking into a room and feeling the deflated energy? What do you choose to do in that moment? Do you choose to go in alignment with the deflation, or do you choose to be something else? Because one alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority, Ernest Holmes wrote. And if we decide that our loving presence can lift the energy of an entire room of people, I guarantee you, you can do that. So do you do it? Rhetorical. Do you do it? Or do you choose to allow yourself to be rolled over by the energies, by the feelings, the collective ideas that are outside yourself that may not be so constructive in your life? Our work is to step up and stand out, not because our ego demands it, but because it is our birthright. Our birthright is to be an open, free, unique expression of the infinite source. And we get to do with, live with, express as that all the time. And we're doing it whether we are aware of it or not. But we can find ourselves coming into alignment with a collective conscious idea, a collective energy that may not be so good for us. So our work, and it's work, nobody ever wants to hear that. It's work until you have embodied it to such a degree that it is no longer work. So I get a lot of people saying to me, wow, you're so optimistic, you're smiling, your energy is so high all the time. And I say, yes, absolutely it is. But it took me work to get there. And I can tell you, for the people that live with me, my father is living with me right now, there are times when my energy is not so high and my outlook is not so optimistic. That does happen. But I also have the tools, the practical tools, to be able to address it when it happens. And that's the whole purpose and point of being here in this community, is that we are here to teach these practical tools, to allow you to engage these practical tools so that you know what to do and you are not overrun by the energy and emotion and feeling and everything that is outside the self. And that is how we step up and stand out, by being our unique self and taking charge of our expression as this thing called life, as this thing called light, as this thing called love. For you are love, and love is a synonym for God, so you are God. Are you acting accordingly? Rhetorical. I lived a backwards life in some ways, because it took me a while to get back to this place of being, so optimistic that people think I'm a little Pollyanna-ish, and I don't care. Let me be Pollyanna-ish. So it's funny because I'm talking about my childhood too. When I was growing up here in Tucson, I think, and my reflection and my remembrance is, I was a very, very outgoing, gregarious child. Is that your understanding? How about you, Pop? Do you think I was an outgoing and gregarious child?
You knew everything.
I was a ham, that's for sure. I was hard to keep up with. That's a good way of expressing it. But what I realized in retrospect is that I was gregarious, now get this, as a way of hiding, as a way of covering up those places where I could express my vulnerability. I could not express my vulnerability in so many ways. And part of that is growing up in the 1980s, in the age of the AIDS epidemic, and understanding and knowing that I was most likely a gay man. And dealing with that was challenging. So in my private heart space, I was very conflicted and had a really hard time with expressing my unique self. But I hid it very well by being in plays and playing other characters and being gregarious and outgoing and, trying to be the popular kid at school. And I had a lot of help from Carrie-Mon because she was always a year ahead of me, and I'm going to just acknowledge this out there right here and right now, that she would always be able to come home and tell me how I could how I could align myself in such a way that I would become popular because she knew everybody before I did. So I was always a pretty popular kid in school. Thank you. She told me all the secrets. But here's what happened. I lived my life backwards because when I did finally come out at the age of 18, I actually then retreated into my vulnerability. And I became very shy. I became very shy. And I think a lot of that had to do with I didn't know how to be this person in the world because the entire collective consciousness was telling me how to be something else. I didn't really mean this to be overly about coming out, but, we're all coming out in some way. When we express our vulnerable selves, that is coming out. In whatever way that expresses, it just doesn't have to be in the spectrum that I'm talking about today. So I retreated and I hid and I became shy, and people perceived me as being cold and standoffish and an introvert. I am a little introverted. People don't believe that, but I am, because I find that I am more filled in the times that I spend, and I fill myself up in the times that I spend on my own. But I love community too. I love people. So maybe I'm an extroverted introvert. But allowing myself, and it is a sense of allowing myself to be authentically me, was a challenge. And that challenge showed up in my career as well. I got a lot of flack for skills that I didn't feel I had when I was in an acting career. And you know what changed that? Was coming into a philosophy that said, you are perfect, you are unique, you are magnificent just as you are. You are enough. When I touched into that authentic part of myself, I'll tell you, it changed my acting. It changed that part of my career. Because the other thing is, I had to demonstrate that in ministry, when I was studying to be a minister, I had to demonstrate that whatever happens up here is authentic. It has to be authentic. And I choose to be authentic. I choose to, sometimes maybe say too much. But if I'm not authentic, then nobody should be here. Because why would you listen to that? So, I was gregarious, I went to being shy, and I've come back around to being much more gregarious in my life. And I live this life of optimism. I live this life of high energy. I live this life of walking around smiling wherever I go. I believe that the progress of the collective, the wholeness, I believe that the progress of the collective, the evolution of the collective, requires each and every one of us to step forth in our own unique expression without limitation in our own hearts of how we think we are going to be perceived. Because I'll tell you, you're not going to please everyone. Let's just start there. I've said it before, when I first was in ministry, I wanted to please everybody. I wanted to be everybody's minister. And I finally realized, oh, you know what? That's not possible. It is absolutely not possible. I'm going to be the most magnificent, inspirational person I can be for myself and trust that whoever shows up is perfect for this. There are people who started off being vibrant members of this center, Tucson New Thought, who have drifted away because they don't resonate with my expression of ministry. And I bless them for that, to know who they are and move to whatever is perfect for them. But y'all better keep showing up. I'm joking. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do to stop working so hard to fit in and allow ourselves to start standing out? Because that is truly how we belong, by being our unique selves. That's what Brené Brown is talking about. I love the work of Brené Brown. Love it. Love it. So I have some tools to tell you about today. Oh, the first one's going to feel like, ugh. At least it did for me when I was considering it. One of the tools that we can use to stop fitting in and start standing out is by taking risks. Does that put fear in anybody's heart? Yeah? Risk is not something to be feared. Appropriate risk. I do want to be clear. Appropriate risks. I'm not the type of person who thinks that it is a good idea to jump out of an airplane even if I have a parachute. That's just me. To me, that is, if I'm in a perfectly good airplane, I choose to be in that airplane, and I don't want to jump out of it, although I did think that for my 50th, instead of walking the way, I would do skydiving, but I'd rather walk the way. Evolution, and specifically spiritual evolution, requires risk. Because if the larva never breaks out of the chrysalis, then you will never have the butterfly. That requires risk. It requires a decision to say, yes, I am going to be authentically me. To fit in means never going beyond your limitations, your own perception of limitations. Literally, if you fit in, literally, you are still in the box you have created for yourself. Think about it. God does not fit in a box, and you are God. So break the barriers of the box. Expand beyond the box. Step up. Stand out. Now, like I was saying, don't confuse risk with poor judgment. You can utilize discernment in your life to know what is right for you. Use it. Be discerning. I think one of the big questions, and this is how I know if a particular experience of risk is right for me. And it is this. If I knew I couldn't be saved, would I move forward? If I knew I couldn't be saved from whatever it is I've decided to take a risk around, would I move forward? Is that a possibility? And only the answer in my own heart will determine for me if it is a risk worth taking. Because I may decide it's not worth it. I may decide that, and that's okay. But I also know that I will not evolve unless I am willing to take risks in my life. When we risk, we show our vulnerability. That's the biggest risk, I think, is allowing our vulnerability to be worn out loud. How many of you, it's rhetorical. Just take a look in your own heart. How many of you are willing to live in your vulnerability? Vulnerability is expressed in the innocence of not knowing. Vulnerability is not knowing. But the truth is, we can never know what the future holds. We like to think we can. We like to make all these grand plans, but we do not know what the future holds. Emerson said this, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." The innocence of not knowing can be your strength. And I think it is your strength. That's what Brene Brown is also saying. See, literally, she sent me I had already worked out that I was going to be focused on Brene Brown today. So here's part of the homework that I would like you to do this week. Do something unexpected. Do something that is unexpected for you in your own heart. It doesn't have to seem unexpected to anybody else, but I want you to do something unexpected. Do something unexpected. Don't get too caught up in the anxiety of an unknown future. After all, the future has become the past in the time it has taken me to say this sentence. It's that fast. So don't get too caught up in the future. Let go of past regrets as well. Why are you holding on to past regrets? Why are you holding on to past regrets? They only haunt you. They don't haunt anybody else. They don't do anything for anybody else. Let them go. That's a way to step up and stand out. Let go of those things that you regret from your past. They are not worth anything except to make you miserable. That's it. That's all they do. Sharing our past, now I want to be really clear, sharing our past can help us heal the present and create a solid foundation for the future, as long as you don't get stuck in the past. You cannot get stuck in the past, because if you are stuck in the past, it will never bring healing to your present, and it will build a future that is founded on quicksand. So, that's, I got a rap for a while by saying, oh, we need to let go of the past, we need to let go of the past, we need to let go of the past. And then people come to me and say, well, why do you talk about stories from your past in your ministry if you're saying let go of the past? And I said, and it's because of this. It is because of this. Sharing my past can heal the present. And I only ever talk about things from my past that I feel I have a point of view around and I have moved through that have been healed. I will never talk publicly about those things in my past which are still as yet in need of healing. And they do exist, but that's the work. That's the work that we do in spiritual practice. So getting stuck in the past will never bring healing to our present. It will build our future on a foundation of quicksand. Don't fear your own voice, is the other part of this. Do not fear your own voice. Practice what you preach. For those of you who only hear the audio of that, I said, practice what you preach, and then I pointed to myself. Practice what you preach. It doesn't take much to step up and stand out. Ultimately, what it takes is a decision rooted in your heart, and with the understanding that you are a most exquisite expression of love. Live that unique nature every single day. Every single day. And I will remind you of the homework. Do something unexpected this week. Do something unexpected. I'm checking in with my own heart to see what is mine to do in this moment. And this morning, as everyone was filling out the numbers, I said I reserve the right to not do the random reading today, and I feel like what I have said today is sufficient, so I'm not doing the random reading today. And I'm going to do something unexpected. Are there any questions? Yeah.
I had one, but now I didn't expect I'd be able to ask it, so I put it aside. Think about it.
It's okay. Is there anyone else while she thinks about it? Boy, I'm good.
We're good students.
Yes.
Do you have a tool that allows us, you talk about this jumping into this higher level of vibration, it's more optimism and whatnot, and higher energy. Is there, other than the risk-taking and the doing the unexpected and not regretting, is there another tool that pushes you into a higher vibration when you're a little lower?
So the tool that worked for me, and ultimately this is a journey that we all have to be on to find that which works, because I will always say technique is anything that works. My technique may not be the technique that works for you.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question essentially is there a tool to launch us into that higher vibrational level of optimism, where love is at the core of everything we think, say, and do? That's basically how I'm interpreting your question. Is that sufficient? The tool that worked for me most profoundly, actually, was meditation. And I'll tell you why. There is one purpose in my heart for what meditation is all about. Meditation is to know one thing and one thing only. Oh, I put a little, there we go. Remembering who I am. Remembering who I am. Because when I allow myself to, and I like to do meditation in an active way. Most people will say meditation is a passive experience. I like to engage in meditation in an active way. I like contemplation. So I'll usually contemplate on an idea. One of the ideas that I love to contemplate, and I will use this as a mantra, is this. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And as I allow myself to utilize that as a mantra, I have found that place within my heart where I remember who I am more consistently when I'm not in the practice of meditation. Because ultimately it's about reconnecting the synapses into a new way of being. Because I got a lot of messages that told me I was something else growing up. I got a lot of those messages. Allowing those messages to simply be put aside, remembering who I am, and actively engaged in the practice that it takes to rewire the synapses is what changed it for me. Is that helpful?
Thank you, that was nice. Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Anything else? Anyone else? All right then. If there's anybody online, you can post your comments in the, I don't know why I'm pointing over there. I guess because on the screen, I think the comments are over there. You can post your comments in the comment section or post a question in the comment section, and I will do my something extra video, which I don't know if anybody saw that last week. And there are forms in your handouts. If you do have a question that comes up, you can fill out the form in your handout, put it into the offering basket, and I will address it as part of my later in the afternoon video that goes live on Facebook called Something Extra. So there we are. I'm grateful to each and every one of you for your attention, for your time, for your love, and for the blessings that you share with me. Namaste. Let us sing. So I'm going to invite us to relax. Just relax. Here's a place where we can start this practice of knowing more deeply the truth of who we are. Contemplation in the silence is one of the things that I absolutely adore. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. I find God. I find myself. And I truly find myself when I find God, for they are one and the same. There is absolutely no separation.
There is only this one infinite creative source for all that is, and this is who and what each and every one of us is. We are the flow of love. We are the expression of love. We are the evolution of love. And I allow this to be rooted in my heart more profoundly right here and right now. Trusting this, and knowing that my unique expression is the gateway to belonging. As I step up and stand out, I trust with a grateful heart that this resonates globally, universally. And so it is in gratitude that I simply relax, release, let go, and allow. As together we say, and so it is. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. Oh, I find God. I find myself.
Thank you. I'm going to invite to the lectern the Vice President of our Leadership Council. People should know that, William Summers.
Thank you. Yeah, we got him. I made a mistake last time. I just brought it over there. First, you got to bring it over here. Okay, that's enough goofing around. It's kind of difficult for me to get up here. I was so touched with Carrie Mon and Reverend Jonathan's talks today. It's like, what am I going to get up here? How am I going to follow that up, you know? And the thing is, when you get up here, and some of you have been up here, and some of you will be up here at some point, I stand up here, and I look at people looking up at me, and it's almost like I can see that love flowing up here. And Jonathan talked about risks, and starting this center was a risk. And but you know, he was willing to take it. You know, each of us in our journey, for some of us, the risk is just walking in the door in the morning. Some of us go a little farther. Maybe we'll be a greeter, or you know, or volunteer to bring some stuff for our social time. Other people get up here and talk. People sing. Thank you, Darwin. So we're at different points in our journey. The thing that's so amazing to me, and I choose to feel so wonderful about, is we've created a space here where it's safe to be who we are, wherever we are on our journey. And in fact, a couple weeks ago I mentioned, you know, that I'm not going to be satisfied until people talk about Tucson being like that. I felt a little resistance when I said that. I realized it was a mirror. But the thing is, it's absolutely true. In fact, we're bursting at the seams now, and I assume Reverend Jonathan will address that during the announcements. This place is growing. It's so magnificent. And well, it's partially due to Reverend Jonathan, partially due to other, but it's really due to all of us. How do we do it? Well, first we show up here, we practice the tools, but there's also the giving that we do every week. And there's several ways that we can give. You can fill out an envelope. You can just throw cash in there. We have the automatic one when you see the stones going in there. Credit card. Those of you online, believe me, you're just as important to the success of this center as the people sitting here, and we appreciate what you do. So whatever you're willing to do, however much you want to fill this room with love, go ahead and put that in the basket. We have a little reading we do before we pass the basket around. I ask that you join me in this reading. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that Spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly.
Yes, and so it is. Thank you, William. As William takes the basket around, I'm going to first, would you like to say something, Mirta, about Casa Alitas?
Not today, except yes, I do. I do. I just remember, I remember an email I received that we're now Casa Alitas, the migrant center, is now receiving permanent migrants that have been allowed to stay here from Africa. And so we're helping them set up in apartments. And if you have beds, extra mattresses, bedding, furniture that is not in horrible condition, like night tables, lamps, tables, chairs. So all of that, but of course we cannot bring all of that here. It would have to go directly, and I gotta find out exactly how to do that. But be thinking about it. If you have furniture, that is very welcome right now for those who are allowed to stay in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. One of the great things we can do as a community is to share the blessings that we all have. And I'm grateful that Mirta has brought into our sphere the programs that Casa Alitas is doing for the migrants and refugees and for everyone who comes to this country. Because I think that when we express ourselves as love, that's one of the ways that we do it. And it just spreads this magnificence of who we are and who everyone is, because everyone is a reflection of each and every one of us. I'm going to put my... And let's just, so let's just take this moment of reflection and knowing that what is here is a perfect expression of love, that love is God in action, that money is love in action. It's all one infinite circulatory flow, for that is the nature of currency. And so this is a temporary stop that blesses this work, that blesses this center, that blesses this community, and I know that it is utilized with the highest integrity by the Leadership Council, by the spiritual understanding that goes into it. And so knowing this, trusting this, and allowing this, I give great thanks. Thanks rooted at the core of my beingness for all that has been collected here, and know that it does wonderful things. So I simply allow the perfect flow. I let it be so, as together we say, and so it is. Thank you. A couple of things that I do also want to let you know about. New service times. Now, I see some people came today, and I think that they thought that the service started at 10:30 today. Yeah, that I did get that feedback. I thought I had been clear. The new service times do not start until November 17th. So you actually have, I think, 4 more weeks before we go to the 2-service thing. This is the blessing that William was talking about. As we continue to grow, we want to make sure that we can accommodate the people that are clamoring at our door to be able to have this experience. So we're moving to 2 service times. The times will be 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. So if you're used to being here at 10 and you want to be here for the celebration service, which is the higher energy, more gregarious Reverend Jonathan, that's the 10:30 celebration. If you would like to be at a more contemplative experience, that will be at 9 o'clock. It will be a slightly shorter service, and that's going to be at 9 o'clock. And I'm so grateful that we get to also offer different options for people, and we bring into our sphere those who are feeling attracted to what it is we have to offer. So I'm excited, so excited about that. Also, next Sunday, It's Potluck Sunday. So join us for Potluck next Sunday, October 27th. Bring a dish to share. If you don't bring a dish to share, still show up. Bring a friend. Let's have a wonderful social time with this room filled with wonderful, loving energy from everyone around. Next Sunday, we do our Potluck Sunday on the last Sunday of every single month. We will have to think about what that means on Thanksgiving weekend, though. Maybe people are bringing leftovers. We do also always offer meditation every single week, Wednesday, 6 p.m., right here in this room. Would love for you to join us for that. I got a question this week from somebody who was on my mental moment, my mindful moment, my mental moment. They were experiencing my mental moment. They were on the mindful moment, and they said, where do I find the meditation online? And for a long time, I had said, oh, only if you're part of the pre-authorized giving program, then you have access to the secret group. I've changed that. Why am I limiting? So the meditation, the Wednesday meditation group is a public, open group now. If you are not able to be here, you can find that on Tucson New Thought's Facebook page, and you can listen to the meditation live when it's happening, and then it also gets archived there, so you can go back and listen to previous meditations as well. So that's every Wednesday at 6 p.m. I do want to remind you all that we do recycle our programs, so if you are not wanting to take your program today, go ahead and just put it back on the table, and we will utilize it next week. If you have a request for prayer support, you can fill out a prayer request form, also on the table, and put it into the yes box. And I feel complete with those announcements. Is there anything I'm missing? Nope. Okay. There will be more and more and more and more. So I want to say thank you. Actually, this is what I do want to say. I want to say thank you to Aiden for our technical support. As always, I want to say thank you to Marvis for bringing our snacks for our social time. I want to say thank you to Karimon for your brilliant insight and wisdom. I received so much from it, and I'm so grateful that we were so in alignment today. Grateful to you, William. Grateful to Anita for singing, for Christy to playing for us, and I am mostly grateful to each and every one of you for being here present today and celebrating with me. So let's lift up this energy and take it out into the street with Let Your Love Flow.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when the love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean is the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights, and there's a reason for the candle lights. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let that wonder take you into space and lay you under its loving embrace. Just feel the thunder as it warms your face. You can't hold back. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Just let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and reason. Just let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Do that one more time. Just let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Make it a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much.